Good Sunday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. In today's weather forecast, I will be covering the southeast rain and snow through early next week on Monday, followed by two big storms next week with a severe weather outbreak and heavy snow looming. And then an active weather pattern continues with more rain, snow, and storms through late February in this video. Looking here at the snapshot of Super Bowl Sunday across the country, looks pretty quiet out across the middle of the country and out west, but we are seeing a storm system moving across the East Coast, bringing snow and higher elevation snows at that, and also some rainfall across portions of the Mid-Atlantic going through today. In fact, for the Super Bowl forecast for Glendale, Arizona, today it will be partly cloudy with upper 70s, topping out around 77 degrees. Moving into tonight, some rain late, 60% chance with middle 40s with a low of 45 degrees in Glendale, Arizona if you guys are traveling to the game. But if you guys are new to the channel and have yet to subscribe, hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates each and every morning at 9 a.m. Also, hit the like button, the thumbs up button down below the video. It helps to spread all of this weather information out to more and more people across YouTube, so I definitely appreciate it. But moving in toward that storm system across the Mid-Atlantic, we have those winter weather advisories into Western Virginia, into West Virginia, and also Eastern Kentucky later on through the day today, as well as winter storm warnings back here into far western North Carolina and far eastern Tennessee in those higher elevations where we do expect some significant snow to fall. In fact, we do see some higher elevation snow showing up around noon time frame today. Otherwise, all rain across portions of the Mid-Atlantic and the East Coast. That will lift out and across the Western Atlantic here and across the outer banks of the East Coast by the time we get into this evening around 11 o'clock, and we will say goodbye to that storm system. But looking at additional snowfall accumulation from now through Monday morning, a few more inches are possible in the western portions of Virginia, getting up into eastern West Virginia. And then maybe a few more inches here, several inches of accumulation in those higher elevations of the Appalachian chain here into far western portions of North Carolina and getting into far eastern Tennessee, especially in those higher elevations above 2 to 5,000 feet up as we get into that time frame. But as we look here at the additional rainfall accumulations, we do see some 1 to 2 inch rainfall amounts across Virginia, getting down into North Carolina here and far eastern Tennessee through the day today and into Monday morning. So definitely some heavy rainfall to contend with across these areas. But it's our next storm system that we're going to be keeping an eye on out west here this afternoon. That trough will be digging down across the northern Baja of California. And by the time we get into early next week on Tuesday, February 14th on Valentine's Day, that trough will begin its ejection across the southern plains and eventually into the mid-Mississippi Valley by the time we get towards that Tuesday night time frame. So tracking that by Monday night, we see some higher elevation snow back here across portions of New Mexico, eastern Arizona, and western Colorado around the 6 o'clock time frame. But as we get into the morning hours on Tuesday, we'll start to see some of this rainfall and moisture begin to advect its way northward towards Iowa, getting into Missouri, eastern Kansas, and then all the way down across Oklahoma and northeast Texas as well, around the I-20 corridor and the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. That will continue lifting its way up to the northeast by the time we get into the mid-afternoon hours around 3 o'clock on Tuesday, with a pretty pronounced cold front with this system here moving through the Illinois Valley, down through the Memphis area here, with some snow on the northwestern side up here into northern Minnesota, the Dakotas, and then back across the Rockies. But it's not going to have a lot of cold air to work with, and then it will finally turn over to more snow as it encounters more cold air into portions of northern and central Ontario, Canada, and portions there of Lake Superior by the time we get towards 6 a.m. on Wednesday morning. Looking at the total rainfall accumulation from that first system early next week, we could see some decent rains around 1/4 to 1/2 an inch down here across southern Kansas, central portions of Oklahoma, and North Texas around the Red River area. That will be Monday into Tuesday, and then all that heavy rain will be lifting up across the upper Midwest, the mid-Mississippi Valley, and portions of the Arklatex, getting through the Tuesday into Wednesday timeframe towards midweek. in these blue shaded colors from the Minneapolis-St. Paul region down through Des Moines, Kansas City, and all the way south just to the western side of Little Rock, we could be talking about a 1 to, even an inch and a half of rainfall on the way as we go through the middle of the week. Looking at the snowfall potential with this during the early portion of the week, it looks to be far up to the north across northern and central Ontario here, where we could be dumping as much of 2 to 4 plus inches worth of snow up here, and then some heavier snow back across the Rockies, with that second trough beginning to move down across the Four Corners region, getting towards that Wednesday morning time frame. A couple of feet of snow could be possible back here across western Colorado, northwestern New Mexico, into northeastern Arizona by the time we get towards that Wednesday morning time frame. And again, just speaking about that second trough, that will be digging down across the Four Corners region by the time we get toward the middle of next week on Wednesday, February 15th. Before that starts to eject across the Midwest and the Missouri Valley by the time we get towards Thursday, February 16th, later on next week. And this is going to bring some more snowfall to the table across the northern plains here, getting into the upper Midwest and even parts of the Rocky Mountains around the Front Range by the time we get into the noon hour on Wednesday. It's all warm air advection, though. However, out in front of the storm system, with all the warm air out of the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic, we're definitely going to start to see more thunderstorms and even some severe weather breaking out across the Arklatex here by the time we get to the overnight hours on Wednesday. Yes, this will be an overnight threat for tornadoes, damaging winds, large hail, and of course the heavy rain and frequent lightning threat. Then that snow band will start to set up across portions of the Midwest here back to the Central Plains overnight going into Thursday morning. That will continue towards the early morning hours on Thursday around 6 a.m. with that squall line starting to develop from the Ohio and Tennessee river valleys south and westward towards portions of coastal Texas, and then that will lift its way to the north and east with more snow across southeastern Canada. But a strong cold front across the Ohio Valley all the way to the Gulf Coast will be open season for thunderstorms and possible severe weather by the time we get towards the Thursday evening time frame around 6 p.m. And then by the time we get into Friday, that system will finally make its move farther off to the east, and we'll say goodbye to that trough and that system as we move in towards late next week. But looking at the severe weather potential on Wednesday, day 4 risk, the Storm Prediction Center maintains that 15% or slight risk for severe weather from Memphis, Tennessee through Little Rock, Shreveport, Louisiana, and then all the way back southwestward here into the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex on Wednesday. All modes of severe weather will be possible, and then that extends farther east into Thursday on day 5, all the way up to the Cleveland area on Thursday, and that will extend down here through portions there of Toledo, getting into the Lexington, Kentucky area, Nashville, Tennessee, Jackson, Mississippi, Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, and all the way south to the Gulf Coast as we go through the day on Thursday. So you definitely want to be weather aware. This is a powerful trough, and this is a powerful mid-level jet rounding the base of this trough. So we're going to have a lot of wind energy with this system. So we should have no problem seeing at least damaging winds and even a few tornadoes with this system as well, especially when you see this low-level jet cranking up through the overnight hours into Wednesday and throughout the day on Thursday as it pushes up into the Ohio and Tennessee river valleys ahead of this system and its cold front. So looking at the total rainfall accumulation with the second system from Wednesday into Thursday, decent rains down here from the middle Mississippi Valley down across the Gulf Coast. Anywhere in these lighter blue shaded colors, we're talking an inch to an inch and a quarter of rainfall, and this will really lift up towards southeastern Canada here from Cleveland all the way south into middle eastern Tennessee, and then farther south from there toward Mobile, Alabama. We'll be talking about widespread 1 to 2 inches of rain, or even locally higher amounts of rainfall could be possible by the time we get into that Thursday into Friday time frame on the 16th and 17th of the month of February. But like I said, on the backside of the system, it is cold enough where we are going to see a deformation snow band start to set up here with the colder air moving in on the backside. Just a classic low pressure signature here. You got the warm air from the southwest with severe weather outbreak on the eastern side. Then you got a heavy snow band setting up on the northwestern side of the system with the cold air moving in. So definitely a classic type of low pressure center by Thursday. And looking at the European model here for snowfall, it is starting to come into a little bit more congruency with all the other models here. It does look like a heavy band of at least 6 inches of snow will set up from northeast Kansas through central eastern Iowa, southwest Wisconsin, all the way up into portions of the central Great Lakes. And the GFS model is very similar, just a little bit farther to the northwest, but there is a lot of agreement that this will take a track here from northeast Kansas through Iowa into Wisconsin and then up across the central and upper Great Lakes regions by the time we get towards that Wednesday through Friday time frame. Looking at that here, it looks likely that we'll have the heaviest snow from portions of northeastern Kansas up here across portions of Iowa, getting into southwestern, central portions of Wisconsin on up into the upper Great Lakes, including northern Michigan with this as well. It is still possible we could have some snow farther south towards Chicago, getting in there toward the Davenport Quad Cities, and then farther southwestward into the panhandle of Oklahoma. But again, a little bit more wiggle room in this system here will mean the difference between 6 inches of snow and no snow. So we'll be right on the line there in Chicago. So we'll have to wait and see over the next couple of days if we do see that. But either way, we're going to see it quiet down by the time we get to next weekend on February 18th. A dominating high pressure system will be down here across the southeast. So plenty of sunshine to go around by the time we get towards next weekend. And a lot of those warmer temperatures as well, still hanging tough with that high pressure system across the east above normal temperatures will be favored as we'll reload the atmosphere going into the following week on the 19th through the 25th. Another trough digging in out west will assure us with below normal temperatures across much of the western two-thirds of the country during that time frame. And you can see that atmosphere reloading. We have the warmer anomalies out east here across southeastern Canada and the eastern two-thirds of the country on Monday, with that trough digging down across the west. We're going to see another area of below normal temperatures from Alaska down through western Canada and the western two-thirds of the country on Monday. That will continue in more fashion as we head in towards the Tuesday timeframe on the 21st. And you can see a very sharp gradient where we have the warmer temperatures to the east and the colder temperatures to the west, creating that zone for that low pressure system to move up through as we head towards the early and middle portion of the following week. So looking on Monday, February 20th, potential high temperatures out here will be pretty warm. Again, 50s and 60s all across much of the eastern two-thirds of the country. You got the colder air out west and farther north, below zero temperatures on up into central Canada on Monday, February 20th. Then getting into Tuesday, February 21st, you can see that sharp gradient here of temperatures where we go from single digits on up into the Dakotas to the upper 50s to near 60 down here towards St. Louis as we head towards Tuesday afternoon. And right along that gradient is where we expect that low pressure system to develop and start to propagate through the middle of the following week. And that does look like we have that active pattern continuing across most of the lower 48 going through that February 19th and the 25th time frame, with again that another significant trough digging in out west and eventually ejecting across the Midwest and the mid-Mississippi Valley region by the time we get into that following week on Monday the 20th and Tuesday the 21st across the middle of the country. This trough will again be on the lookout for more heavy rain across the east and the southeast, maybe some severe weather down across the Gulf Coast on up toward the Tennessee Valley. We may have to watch during this time frame, but also another swath of heavy snow up here across the central western Great Lakes down through Wisconsin, possibly northern Illinois, and then getting farther west from there through Iowa, Kansas, Nebraska, and possibly the front range of the Rockies by the time we get into that 19th through 25th time frame. Well, to recap my weather forecast for you guys, southeast rain and snow through tomorrow, some significant rain and snow across those areas. 2 big storms next week with a severe weather outbreak side and a heavy snow side as well with both systems. And also we'll have an active pattern continue with more rain, snow, and storms through late February as well. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I definitely appreciate it. If you guys liked the video, press the thumbs up down below. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. I'll get to those later on today. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new, and hit the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. Have a great Super Bowl Sunday, everybody. A great rest of your weekend, and I will see you all in the next video.